Hi, I'm here to give you a few video tips about video and digital instruction, both through Zoom and pre recorded lessons, and how to best balance them and use them for your own classroom because this is something we're all not familiar with, and I've had some success, and I'd like to share what's worked with me and maybe how you can apply it to your own classroom. To start, I break down the purpose of Zoom and video calls differently. Zoom calls I use primarily for a chance for students to, one, interact with each other, two, to ask questions and review and expand upon the material, some application of the material there. I do not use the Zoom calls for direct instruction. I use the videos for direct instruction, and there's a reason for this. Just as in a normal classroom, you wouldn't lecture for 40 minutes to your students, that would drive them insane. You likewise don't want to do that on a Zoom call when internet is a factor connecting whether or not you'll be able to talk to a student. If device shortages in a home are an issue for a student, if the power goes out, you don't want to have the direct instructions slowed by that. That's why I like uploading the video portions for my direct instruction. That way, even if a student ends up missing class because of some technical snafu, the material is there for them to review. Furthermore, these videos, I have them targeted to short lengths, digestible chunks of time. I try and keep my videos between 3 and 8 minutes. No more than that, really. The longest video I put out for any of my students was 12 minutes, and that was a review before a test. The reason for this being something you guys already know. You can generally hold someone's attention on a topic for a number of years, or for a number of minutes equal to the number of years old they are. So a 14-year-old you can hold for 14 minutes. Now, because of this pandemic, I'm assuming everyone's regressed a little bit. I teach middle schoolers, and so I'm operating at maybe 2 or 3 minutes less than you might normally expect to be able to hold them. Because you're also having them on a digital environment, and that's can be distracting in its own right because you have to compete against the entire internet. You have to compete against Instagram. You have to compete against Snapchat. You have to compete against TikTok. You have to compete against video games. You have to compete against Twitch. You have to compete against everything these kids want to do that is not school. And that's tough. So, by keeping it short and sweet in both the Zoom calls and the video lessons, you're going to help yourself with that. It'll make your problems smaller and more manageable. Likewise, I script out my videos before I make them. This one is a little more freeform, but normally I'll script it out. I'll even include a few pauses, maybe some jokes I'm going to use in the lesson to keep people entertained, keep them engaged. And you may be thinking it's a 3 to 8 minute video. They don't need a joke in that. They need a joke just like if you were in the normal classroom, or they need if you like to give trivia about what you're teaching, include some of that. Include that relational aspect that is missing in the classroom because we're doing everything digitally. Include that aspect for your students, and you will find it to be very helpful and very engaging, and hopefully will help keep their interest to help you perform better. Zoom calls, I don't use those for formative and summative assessments either. And while I could ask students questions and grill them on that, I find that using Google Classroom or homework assignments where it's just a quick little exit ticket just to get their thoughts on something, I find that to be very useful. So what do I use the Zoom calls for besides application and questions? I use those for student interaction and group activities, having them work together. The breakout room function is great for that purpose. The big thing I did with my middle schoolers at the end of the year with my 8th graders is I had them conduct a debate. They worked with their groups. Then they had an opportunity to present their debate in front of the entire class. The class then got a chance to ask them questions. It was a very engaging opportunity for them, and we kept it short and broke it up into groups. So I had an opportunity to do something I wouldn't normally be allowed to do because having 30 students in a classroom all talking at once about group debates might be kind of difficult. But with a Zoom call, I can break them off into 7 or 8 groups, and it's not a problem. So think about your format. Think about how you can best take advantages of separating your direct instruction from your enrichment activities. And, be yourself. That really is what's going to shine through. You don't need big prompts or big production value for your videos to make them engaging. Building that relationship aspect, that ultimately is what's going to be more engaging than if your teacher is acting like there's some video game YouTuber saying, "Yo, what up, ninth grade? It's your homeboy, Mr. Antonetti, here to talk to you again." That's not going to keep their interest. They're going to know you're trying too hard. But if you're coming being yourself and trying to reach them where they are while still getting the material and taking it seriously, the students will appreciate that, and I think you'll find your lessons will work better. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I am always keeping an eye on my email, and I hope this helps you.